What in the name of Vince Lombardi just happened? Brace yourselves, because this is the single most stunning upset in the entire history of the National Football League. Forget the helmet catch, shelve the Philly special. We have a new, undisputed champion. The headline alone should cause a full system shutdown. Bill Belichick is not a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Seriously. Read it again if you have to. The architect of the greatest dynasty in sports history. 8-time Super Bowl champion. The man who is literally second all-time in victories. Denied. How? How did at least 11 people look at that resume and decide it wasn't good enough for Canton right now? They looked at 333 wins, at 6 rings as a head coach, at a 2-decade reign of terror and said, he should wait. It is a decision so baffling, so utterly divorced from reality, that it makes you question the entire institution. According to reports, the old ghosts of Spygate and Deflategate rose from the grave to haunt this vote. Some voters, apparently, decided to play judge, jury, and executioner long after the NFL had handed down its own punishments. They wanted to make Belichick wait a year as some kind of symbolic penalty. That's not upholding standards, that's personal grievance masquerading as principle. And let's be brutally clear about the domino effect this creates. If Belichick's scandals are enough to keep him out for a year, then what about Tom Brady? The same logic applies. Brady was his quarterback. He served a suspension for Deflategate. So, by this new, absurd standard the voters just invented, the greatest player of all time shouldn't be a first-ballot inductee either. The thought is laughable, but now, it's a legitimate question these voters have unleashed. But here's the real, ugly truth of this vote: it wasn't about history. It was about pettiness. It was about a handful of people who finally had a chance to stick it to the man who dominated their teams and their league for 20 years. They used their vote not to honor the game, but to settle a score. And in doing so, they've made a mockery of the Hall of Fame itself. A Hall of Fame that doesn't immediately welcome the most accomplished coach in the history of the sport on day one is a fraud. It's a museum of grudges, not greatness. Belichick's legacy is granite. It is untouchable. He doesn't need a bronze bust to validate it. But the Hall of Fame? It just proved it desperately needs him to have any remaining shred of credibility. They didn't punish Belichick. They exposed themselves.